This video is going to be where we went, what we did, and how much we spent on our European vacation, but I just wanted to clarify something before I get started. At the time, my husband was living and working in Stuttgart, Germany, so I went out there for 6 weeks. We had the unique opportunity to use Stuttgart as our home base to travel all over Europe. We would go on a trip, come back, he would work, I would do laundry, then we would pack our bags and go on another trip. So all of our trips originated from Stuttgart. And the other thing I want to point out is that at the time I was not in my YouTube era, I was more in my photography, Snapchat era. So that is the footage that I have to share with you, but I still wanted to make this video because it was an awesome trip. It was the best trip of my life. As a working adult, summers off is a thing of the past. But that year, I definitely had a summer vacation and it was incredible. So I did want to relive that trip, but also share something interesting in the prices because I think that's something that a lot of people find interesting, myself included. I knew the cost of individual items as we were booking them, but I never sat down, added it up, and digested how much we spent. So I'm gonna do that now. My airfare on Delta from San Diego to Stuttgart was $2,300 round trip. I was in business class and it was my first time, so I was really excited about that. From Stuttgart, we took a TGV France high-speed train to Paris. It takes about 3 hours. Those trains go up to 185 miles per hour. The cost for that was $126 each. We stayed at Hotel Eiffel St. Charles for 3 nights. The price was $133 per night for a total of $441. This is a very small hotel, walking distance to the Eiffel Tower, and you can actually see it from the hotel. We have actually stayed at this hotel before, but we went ahead and booked it because of the location, price, and because it's also very clean. One of the things we did while we were there was visit the Catacombs of Paris. The cost was 27 euros each. And so interesting, the Catacombs is directly underneath the streets of Paris and they date back to the 13th century. Putting the remains underground in the old mines was a solution to overcrowding in cemeteries. They only let in a limited number of people at a time. We bought tickets in advance to make sure that we would get in and not have to wait in a really long line. We did it unguided at our own pace, and it was a really, really cool experience. On our second day in Paris, we did a big bus Paris one-day pass. It's one of those hop-on, hop-off bus tours, which was neat because you could get on and off at your leisure, and it had headphones so that you could learn about the city. It was a good way to get around the city, and it was 35 euro each. Later on that night, we went to a 9 o'clock showing of Moulin Rouge. Loved the show, would recommend. We paid for tickets to include a half a bottle of champagne each, and the cost was 115 euros each. On our third day in Paris, we went to the Palace of Versailles. We got a passport pass, and that was 27 euros each. Gave us access to the estate plus the gardens. The place is incredible, and it is a full day affair. We were there all day long, and we really enjoyed it. And we went out to a very nice dinner that night. Paris is magical. We had a great time. For our 4 days and 3 nights in Paris, we spent a total of $1,195 US. This does not include food. I couldn't track down all of that information. And then just keep in mind that the totals that I give for each activity is what I paid according to my receipt. So some things I paid in US dollars, some things I paid in euro, and then I just calculated the amount in US dollars based on what the exchange rate is today. We had 4 days until our next trip, which took us to Greece. We took a Swiss Air flight from Stuttgart to Athens. That flight was $374 each. We got in super late, so we hired private transportation to get us from the Athens airport to the hotel, and that was 54 euro, and that was just for one way. The service that we used was called Welcome Pickups. We stayed at the Herodian Hotel for 3 nights. It was $180 per night for a total of $639. Unfortunately, I did not get any pictures, but from what I remember, it was very basic, small, clean, and it was steps from the Acropolis. And it has Point A, a rooftop restaurant with a view of the Acropolis. We didn't really make any plans for Athens. It was more of a pit stop on our way to Santorini. It was 30 euro each for a multi-ticket, which would give you access to Acropolis, Parthenon, and some other archaeological sites. And also we paid an additional 5 euro for the Acropolis Museum. You can buy them in advance now, but at the time, we couldn't buy them online. We had to buy them in person. But it was good for 5 days. And I'm looking online right now, and it looks like they do have a package that's good for 2 days. You probably need at least 2 days. There's so much to look at. But I just remember it being really confusing, trying to figure out what tickets to buy and what places they got you to and where to buy it. We had to take an Uber from the hotel to the airport, and that was 29 euro. Total cost for 4 days, 3 nights for the Athens portion of our trip was $1,553, and that includes our round trip airfare in and out of Athens.
It's been a long day of touristing, and as you can see, we're tired.
We booked a round-trip airline ticket from Athens, Greece to Thera on Santorini Island for $113 each. We booked transportation to get us to our hotel from the airport through the hotel, and that was $150 round trip. It was private transportation on the way there with just us, and then on the way back we did share with other passengers. We had serious sticker shock booking the hotel for Santorini. It was really hard to find anything under $500. We wanted to be in Oya. We wanted to be right overlooking the water. We wanted a pool. It is extremely expensive. Things were looking bleak, and I was even thinking that maybe we wouldn't go. But then we found Nostos apartments in Oya, and it was $430 per night, and the total was $2,066 for 4 nights. And that included breakfast. Our apartment was this beautiful cave-style, 1-bedroom little apartment with stone floors, stone walls. It was very clean, and it even had a small kitchen. We were so incredibly happy here. This place is so charming. Everything from the key to the door, it was just such a special place. Being in Santorini was a dream come true for me, and I couldn't have asked for anything better. We had our own personal spa. There was a pool, a beautiful breakfast room. This was our hotel nestled into the mountainside, 86 steps down.
64, 65, 66, 7, 68, 69, 70, 71, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 80, 81, 82, 83, 4.
First night we did dinner at Ambrosia. You do have to make reservations, and then you have to reconfirm them 2 days before. Went there on a recommendation because they have good food and a very, very lovely view. On our second day, we took a bus to explore Thera, which is another town. They have buses going up and down the island that can take you, and it was €2. We had lunch down there and checked out the shops. There's plenty to explore over there. The only outing we planned in advance was a sunset catamaran tour with Spiridaco Sailing, which we booked through Viator. We were picked up at our hotel in a shuttle van taken to the port in Thera, and this was $233 for both of us, which included a buffet lunch and unlimited drinks. And really not a bad price for 5 hours plus food and transportation. This was an all-day tour, and I'm telling you, it was so much fun. There were 3 different stops, and at each stop you can jump out and get in the water. It was incredibly beautiful. It was a truly magical day from sun up until sunset. We made our 4th day a relaxing pool and spa day. It was a day to relax and enjoy the amenities at our pool and really just enjoy the beauty of everything around us. We went to dinner, we got more ice cream, and then we watched another beautiful sunset from our hot tub. Santorini is the one place that I always wanted to visit but never really thought would be possible, so this trip was a dream come true for me. It's truly like living in a postcard. On the very last day, we took the bus to Emigrovili before our flight left. Not much to do there. We couldn't even find a place we wanted to eat, but Emigrovili is quite sexy, I will say, and stunning, just like everything else in Santorini. So other than the catamaran tour, we didn't really have any other outings, and we didn't spend any other money besides food. We flew from Thera on Santorini Island back to Athens, and then from Athens, we flew to Stuttgart. So the total for Santorini Island was $2,675 for 4 nights. That only includes airfare between Athens and Santorini. The cost for airfare to get us back to our home base in Stuttgart was included in the Athens trip, but the total for the entire Greece trip, which was 7 nights, was $4,228. 2 days later, we were on another flight, this time on Air Berlin from Stuttgart to Palma, Mallorca, one of the Balearic Islands off the coast of Spain. Our flight was $285.78 round trip, so that's a total of $571 for both of us. We decided to stay in Colonia, Sant Jordi. It was another slam dunk on the hotel choice. Hotel El Coto is beautiful. We paid $210 per night for 4 nights for a total of $942. That included breakfast. Our room was immaculate. And our third hotel with one of these really cool special keys. The pool area was gorgeous, and it was walking distance to the beach and restaurants. We spent our first full day at, please excuse my pronunciation, Playa des Moli de Seestani Beach. This is truly one of the best beaches I've ever been to. No waves, no fish, turquoise water, white sandy beach. Unfortunately, no bathrooms. I used the ones in our hotel, and for €18, we got an umbrella and 2 chairs. My husband insisted on renting a car. I didn't want to, but it made sense because we didn't want to stay in Palma, but we definitely wanted to go and explore it. It's about a 45-minute drive away from Colonia, Sant Jordi, where we were staying. We spent that second day in Palma exploring the old town. The Palma Cathedral is beautiful. It's $10 each to get in. Palma's a beautiful town, gorgeous architecture. There was so much to explore. We spent the entire day wandering the street. We spent our last full day there doing a beach day, pool day combination. We had a fabulous time at this little Spanish beach town. I highly recommend Colonia, Sant Jordi. We spent a total of $1,931 for 4 nights in Mallorca. 4 days later, we were off to Prague, Czech Republic. This was a 5.5-hour road trip from Stuttgart, and we stayed at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Stayed there for 3 nights. It was $168 per night, so $617 total. Another clean, perfect hotel, and this was walking distance to everything. We didn't have an agenda. We showed up. We used a hotel map to circle all the places that TripAdvisor said was a must-see. Our agenda was done. Prague is the kind of city where you don't really need an agenda. It's the kind of place where you can just wander. There is a gargoyle or an angel hanging off of every building. The details in the architecture is absolutely stunning. All I could say is wow. I think I spent half of the first day with my mouth hanging open because I was just so incredibly amazed at the beauty of these buildings. We spent the first day wandering Prague Castle. It's massive. We spent all day in that area. There's so much to see. And it includes St. Vitus Cathedral. Total price was 450 krona each, or $19 each, for a total of $38. The next day, we walked to Malastrana, which is the oldest part of town, and explored Jewish town. We stumbled across the Museum of Torture. This is the only other thing we paid for. It was 160 krona, which is the equivalent of €6, which is $6.81 each. And we stopped at a tavern that has been around since 1375. Excuse the pronunciation. It's called Tavern Ukrel Brabantschico. We've even got a spiked stick back here in case we decide we need to torture someone right quick. It was so cool. We sat in Old Town Square and listened to jazz. Prague is fantastic. It's a really fun city. It's really unique. There's no place like it. It's really beautiful. 2 full days was good. It's fairly inexpensive. We spent a total of $669 for 3 nights. Spätzle is absolutely my favorite German food. It's kind of like mac and cheese, but German. No AC in Germany, and it was hot in there. Our 4 trips were great, but there were still a lot of things to explore in Germany. Between Paris and Athens, we went to Baumwipfelpad Schwarzwald. Oh, that's the best I could do. 4,100-foot walk that reaches 65 feet high among the treetops in the Black Forest of Bad Wildbad, Germany. It's about an hour away from Stuttgart, and the cost is €11.50 per person. That forest is thick, and we had the best view you can get. We also took a train ride to the quaint little town of Esslingen, and checking out a castle was a must. Hohenzollern Castle was about an hour away from Stuttgart. And this section was the basement. One section had Italian marble on the floors, and so they actually gave us booties to put over our shoes. Total cost is €22 each. It was high upon a hill, exactly what you would expect from a castle, and I loved it. It's quite a trek to get up to the castle, so they do offer a shuttle, but we walked. It's a good 30-minute walk through the forest.
On the way up, we were sweating. On the way down, it's a lot better.
This is from a previous trip, but I have to mention Neuschwanstein Castle in Bavaria. It's the #1 most beautiful and amazing castle in Germany. It's about 2 hours from Stuttgart. And like most attractions in Europe, a very reasonable €18. So the grand total for this most epic European vacation, hotels and activities the best only summer of my life, was $8,023 for transport, hotels, and activities only. My flight was $2,300, his was $1,600. So when you add those flights in, that's $3,900 added to the total for a grand total of $11,923 for 17 nights in 4 European countries for 2. And it was worth every single penny. When I look back on these pictures and all of the memories that we made together, I smile. It makes me so happy, and that is priceless. I'm really looking forward to our upcoming European vacation and looking forward to sharing much better footage with you.